The Dateable podcast is an insider's look into modern dating that the Huffington Post calls one of the top 10 podcasts about love and sex. I'm your host, Yue Xu, former dating coach turned dating sociologist. You'll also hear from my co-host, Julie Krafchick. On each episode, we'll talk to real daters about everything, from sex parties to sex droughts, date fails to diaper fetishes, and first moves to first loves. We are excited you've joined us for an older episode. While our earlier seasons were all about dating in San Francisco, we quickly realized all the themes and learnings are universal for all daters. So we shifted to covering dating from all around the world as the seasons progress. The fun part is, things happen first in San Francisco, the tech epicenter and counterculture capital of the world. We love for you to keep tuning in to our older episodes, but there is no set order to listen in, so feel free to jump to more recent seasons or relevant episodes for you. Enjoy the show. This episode is made possible by Armoire. Armoire makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Armoire, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic, personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out. Listen, I live in Southern California. There is absolutely no need for puffer coats or any sort of those winter jackets. But when I travel anywhere else in the world in these cold months, I'm often burdened with the task of getting winter clothes. And now with Armoire, I can just rent my winter wardrobe. It's brilliant. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/dateable. That is armoire.style, spelled ARMOIRE.style/DATEABLE to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
I was so excited to get my shipment from Last Bottle Wines in the mail the other day, full of incredible red wines, all from Napa Valley. I love wine tasting, so having this to my door couldn't be happier. Also, couldn't be more excited that today's episode is brought to you by Last Bottle Wines. If you don't know already, they're a Napa-based online wine shop with a twist. They offer just one handpicked wine per day until it sells out, and they're always at incredible prices. We're talking 30 to 70% off retail. And the best part is that there's no subscriptions, no fees, and no minimum purchase. And I could not be more excited to bring this offer right now because they're having a marathon sale, which is coming up March 28th and 29th. Even better, we're offering Dateable listeners 10% off your first order with code DATEABLE. So if you are a wine lover like me, this is a great time to join. And did I mention that shipping is 100% free? So what are you waiting for? Mark your calendar for March 28th and 29th, or get on it earlier if you want. You can sign up at lastbottlewines.com and use code DATEABLE and find out why Last Bottle is the most fun way to discover and buy amazing wine.
This episode of Dateable is brought to you by Scoot, shared electric scooters you can ride anywhere in San Francisco. Dateable listeners get a special deal, $10 for 3 hours of scooting. Sign up at scoot.co/dateable or use the code HOTDATE.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Dateable, a show that opens up a candid conversation about dating in San Francisco.
You know, I'm going through puberty, so my voice is still changing as we keep doing these episodes. But I'm still here. But Michael, your voice sounds the same. You're so consistent.
Thank you. I love my consistency. And yeah, Yue is going through puberty. But she's looking great. She got really tall all of a sudden. So it's good, guys. It's good for you.
So on each episode, we dissect a dating story from a SF resident. And today we have a guest named Katie.
Katie!
Hi.
Hi, Katie. What's your dating story?
Well, it starts in 2010. I had just moved to the city from Alabama, and I thought I would give dating a try online. And I was really not having much luck, and so I decided to close out my account. And before I did, I got a message from this one particular guy. And I thought, oh, he seems interesting, so I just gave him my number and told him I was closing my account. And so fast forward maybe a week or so, and we had started texting and talking. Conversation was great. And we had an amazing first date. We went to a dive bar in the Mission, and it was a date that lasted maybe 8 hours. I was not expecting that, so it was just really awesome. So I really liked him, and then we continued to see each other for about 2 months. But from the beginning, I knew he was going to be leaving to go on this extravagant adventure hiking in Asia. We had a really fun relationship. I met his friends, he met my friends. You know, my birthday came and went through that time, and he was so thoughtful that he bought tickets to a concert that was sold out that I had just kind of mentioned in passing. So he was very attentive. I mean, he was wonderful. A week before his trip, he mentioned, hey, you should take the day off that I come back, which is a month later, and we'll hang out, we'll catch up, it'll be great to see you. And I was so excited. I was like, okay, sure. A month goes by, I never heard from him, which I knew I wouldn't. And the day comes where he flies home, never hear from him, no text, no email, nothing. And I thought, I hope he's okay. And so I even looked up his flight info. He had landed, it was fine, and I had met his roommate at the time and reached out to him and was like, hey, did Brad make it back okay? And his roommate said, yeah, he's fine. And so I took that as, well, maybe he needs, he's tired, he's exhausted. A day goes by, several days go by, I had texted, nothing, and weeks go by, and I'm just like, really confused. I'd never had that happen. So 2 months go by, and by that time, all my friends are like, delete him, don't talk to him, you're too good for him. I had deleted him from my phone, and he reaches out. It was right around, like, I want to think close to Valentine's Day, and I really didn't know who it was because I deleted him, and he was just saying, I would like to get together, I apologize for what happened. And I was like, that's not cool. What happened? And he just said he was going through a tough time. And then I met somebody else, dated him for about 2 years, and then that ended. And then Brad reached out to me again 2 years later, and I was so floored by that. And so he wanted to meet, and I thought, why not? And so I met him for drinks, and again, it was like an amazing night where we talked nonstop for like 5 or 6 hours, and he did say, he's like, I think I made a mistake, I apologize, I'd like to give it another try. And I was like, okay. And so he even made plans. He's like, this weekend get together. And then I never heard from him again.
Damn.
I was just like, okay. And I told a close girlfriend of mine, and she's known the whole story all along, and she just shook her head and she just kind of laughed. She's like, oh, that's so typical him. And then, life goes on. I met somebody that I'm now with, and things are wonderful. But now, kind of going through this story, I did look on Facebook just to see what he was up to, because I have not thought about him. And he's still single in San Francisco. Is he the type of guy that will never settle down?
Michael, I want to hear your perspective. What do you think happened?
Well, I actually had a couple questions. Like, did he say like what happened?
He said he really liked me, and he kind of got scared, but he hinted around that he was going through a dark time in his life after his trip. And so I don't know if he was going through a depression or what it was, but he completely said he shut himself out from all his friends.
Do you think the fact that you knew that he was going to leave, kind of made it a little more exciting, or it might have changed it up a little bit for you?
Oh, that's interesting. I'm very attracted to adventurous people, and so knowing that he was going on this fabulous trip did attract me more, because I thought, this guy, he is living life.
It's such an interesting point, because I know personally I've experienced that I'm about to leave, so let's kind of go into it phase, where I remember I was dating this girl, and I wasn't ready for a relationship at that moment, but we were just hanging out, and you know, she said that, oh, I want more, and I was like, oh, you know what, that's not where I'm at, and so let's just end it, which was fine. We didn't do anything, and then I find out that she's moving to LA, and in like a week, and so she's like, can I come over tonight? So that's like the just one example of the several times I've heard people talking about this heightened feeling, this heightened experience right before leaving, and I think it just gets both
Yeah.
parties really excited. What did you think about meeting of the friends? I feel like that's kind of like a big step when you're kind of dating someone, like bringing them into your social circle.
But yeah, I think that's a big step, especially in San Francisco.
When we start meeting friends and all that, you start seeing the person in a whole nother light.
I think some people tend to jump the gun because I don't know about you guys. I put a lot of weight into introducing someone to my friends and also being introduced to his friends. And when that does happen, it makes me put more weight into the relationship. And some people tend to jump the gun because they want to think that this is something real when it's not fully matured to that level yet. So in your case, Katie, I have two conflicting theories about what was happening. One is he's very emotionally immature, and he felt that he was an interesting person to you because of his nomadic lifestyle. He was about to leave. He had this crazy adventure he was going on. And when he came back, he probably had nothing that he thought would be entertaining to you anymore. So in his mind, he had a lot of insecurities about his self-worth, his self-identity. My other theory is, which is a very simple theory, I always hear if a guy wants something, he'll go get it, and he'll do whatever he can to get it. So the other theory is maybe he just didn't want it that bad.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
Maybe he thought he did, but he just didn't. Like, you weren't the one that he was going to sacrifice all for, to chase after.
I do know if I ever saw him out in the city, I would be nothing but nice to him, and he would probably be very, very friendly.
So on the
Yeah,
surface, you would be very, very nice, but inside, how would you be feeling?
I think that boat has sailed. But he does have some characteristics that make him appealing. I mean, he's very charismatic. But if I saw him, I do think I'd be a bit shocked because I haven't seen him now it's been about almost 3 years. It was almost 3 years ago.
Can I add something from the producer's perspective?
Producer Julie, yes.
So my opinion, like going off of Yue's two thoughts on this guy, right? Like I think even if he, let's say hypothetically he wasn't that into it, which we don't really know what's going on, I guess it's kind of irrelevant in my opinion to this story. Like he should have had the decency. Like it's not like you had like one date with this guy. Like you were in a relationship with him. You were pretty connected for 2-3 months. I feel like he owed it to you to have a conversation.
Oh,
The fact that he ghosted, it doesn't even really matter why.
it's disrespectful, and it's just not very mature.
Was there anything that you saw when you first started talking to him that might have given you a hint that that would be part of his personality? Like something that maybe you're like, oh, it's not a big deal, but looking back, it's like, oh, well, that now makes more sense.
No clue. I mean, no, not at all, because the way the relationship was, I lived at the time in like Pack Heights, and he was in the Mission, and when I would go over to his place and hang out and watch TV, instead of driving me home or me calling a cab, he would literally call my cab and this was like before Uber, and give the cab money to take me home. And I mean, such a gentleman. Like he was so thoughtful, and like I'd never had that happen before. So it was like he was like hitting all the signs of he's interested and this is going somewhere, and then all of a sudden it was like bam.
Well, I will say, like and there's like a theory that like for every good trait there's like the opposite that comes from it. Like when you're like really ambitious and driven, the downside is that someone could be a workaholic, for example. Like you said, one of the things that you really admired about this guy was that he was like adventurous and kind of like a free soul that way. And then like I feel like the flip of that, it's like someone that may be all over the place.
Flaky, yeah.
Well, I don't know if I agree with, because I don't know. Like I can't imagine someone who just is trying to do really well has all the equivalency of also not doing so good. You know what I mean? Like the idea that, people would put in all their energy to do something right, to do something bad, but then they have to have the equivalency of something bad. I don't know if I believe in too much of that the opposites right there.
I just feel like we don't know the full story because I'm more curious about what is this dark period in his life that he's going through. I have friends with some serious depression issues that you would never know on the surface level. And they have these healthy relationships until they get in these depressed modes and they can't dig themselves out of it. And they don't know how to ask for help because they really feel like it's an outer body experience. So sometimes I kind of think we don't know the full story. And I do think that he owes you some sort of explanation, or at least just sort of the respect to say, hey, I'm going through something still. But we do have to take into account that there is a part of the story we don't know, and it could be something that's out of his control.
And another possibility too, just another plausible theory, is that he just might have been trying really hard at the beginning and it just wasn't something that he knew he could sustain. Trying to do the best first impression ever, but knew I am not going to be able to call every cab that she's going to take and pay for it, and have him stop off at a flower store and there be a dozen roses right by the flower store that she's driving by. It's probably just, that might be another thing, is no way I could keep this up. I can't be this guy in this relationship.
I meet these guys all the time. They really want to be that great boyfriend. And when they meet a great girl, they have such an amazing connection. They want to be the perfect boyfriend for that girl. But they know that they can't physically sustain it and mentally sustain it. So that's when they ghost, or that's when they peace out, because they're like, it's just mentally exhausting for them. Although the girl did not ask for this or did not, request this at all, because these guys are doing it voluntarily. They're like, this girl deserves my best self. In their minds, they're like, I just can't physically and mentally sustain this.
I know a couple of guys, or quite a few guys, that have talked about how they are hesitant to go out on dates because A, they feel like they can't afford a girlfriend right now. Two, they feel like they're very busy, but they still have time, but they don't feel like it's a lot of time that they could devote to someone. And I don't know, I keep hearing, when I hear that, I just think excuses. Because at the end of the day, if you really wanted to go out and meet someone, if you really wanted to date someone, you could do that. You can just go walk and have coffee, and that would be a beautiful date if you're walking by the Embarcadero.
But I think it's just a telling sign of someone who's not at a good place in their life, who's not secure in who they are and happy at whatever place they're at. So therefore, they can not provide a healthy environment for a relationship.
It would have been great to have heard that he just wasn't interested in a relationship.
I think so many people want that, where they're like, listen, it feels like so many people want the truth, but then so many people are afraid of telling the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. I wonder what that we could do to break that cycle.
There was a guy I did go out with years later, separate story. We went out twice, and then he wasn't feeling it, and he totally called me and just said, hey, I don't think this is a fit, good luck. And I bragged about that guy to all my friends. I was like, listen to that. He was honest and broke up with me, and they're like, you're happy. And I was like, but he told me, and it's just so commendable.
The shame is that was a big deal.
Yeah, for me.
The fact that was such a big, I'm sure for many people, the fact that was such a big deal, and it's kind of just the basics, people.
So you guys, instead of doing question of the day, I want to do something a little bit different. Let's do a little role play. Let's pretend.
Wait. You want me to put on my bunny suit or my?
No, gross.
Why?
Keep your bunny suit to yourself, you perv. Let's do a role play. I want Michael to play Brad. And Katie, I want you to treat him as Brad, we just brought him on the show. We're like, hey, it's been years now. This is what's happened. Okay, now's your chance to say everything you want to say to Brad. Go.
Before that, what's my motivation?
Just channel Brad.
Hold on, I'll be back in a month, and then won't talk to anyone.
Oh.
All right. Well, Brad, you can say hi to Katie. Brad, you know Katie.
Yeah, Katie, it's been a while. Hi, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I just got back from this trip. I was in Turkey, and the food and the culture was so much fun. I had a blast.
I don't even know where to go right now.
Ooh, okay, I'll push the buttons. I'll push the button. I had a moment while I was dancing in Turkey, and I kind of thought about you for a little bit. And what? What was that? I just thought of you, and I was just curious if, it's funny that we met up again, but what do you think if I took you out on a date? I learned of a great turkey restaurant around here on Geary.
Brad, this has happened several times. Maybe you don't know what you want. I hope you're well, but I'm in a relationship now.
Oh, you're in a relationship? Congratulations. Listen, you know what's cool about San Francisco that I learned? Relationships don't really last. So, you're probably feeling a little hurt right now, and that's okay. I'm sure listen, I got enlightened. I am now an enlightened man. I know what I want, and I remember the 2 months that we had together was phenomenal. So, it's just for coffee. We can walk around the Embarcadero. I heard that's a great place to walk. Come on, just to catch up.
I think I'm busy.
Brad, get the hell out of here.
Oh, is this
try.
UA? I've heard a lot about you. Hey, listen, look, listen. I just got back from Turkey. I think I could share a lot with you. I don't know about you, but Powell Street, there's a lot of stuff going on there, and
Brad, hang up, Brad. It's over. The show is over. We're going to wrap this up. See you never. Let's wrap this up. Thank you so much, Katie, for sharing your story. And we're very happy you're in a great, healthy relationship now. So congrats.
Thanks for having me on.
yeah, now you know what to do.
Now I know what to do.
Don't forget to submit your stories, and remember, you can always be anonymous. We want to save all parties, all innocent. And I think, UA, there's a couple extra words that I'm missing.
Stay dateable. Make a great first impression and plan your next date on a scoot to zip around the city. Sure, having someone pay your cab every time is romantic, but it can totally break the bank. Plus, if the date goes sour, you have your own scoop, so you can just ditch them and go find your friends. Dateable listeners get a special $10 membership, which includes 3 hours of scooting. Just use the code HOTDATE or visit scoot.co/dateable. To connect with us, visit dateablepodcast.com.